Three, two, one. We are live and we're recording. Uh,
Nice.
Welcome everyone to the Workout Gamer podcast. If you're watching this on Twitch, thank you very much. If you're watching this on YouTube, thank you. All right. Well,
Cool.
this is episode one because I couldn't record the last one. But
Nice.
I see. Let me play around with. All right,
Sorry
March.
guys, if I have a really weird camera angle, I have no computer, so I'm using my iPad.
Cool. Our our
It's
uh,
amazing.
our strength is fluttering, but yeah, it's all right.
It's better than nothing.
Yeah, it's in between good and minor issues. It's not like last
Yeah.
time where it had a lot of issues.
True.
All right,
True.
cool. So, welcome everyone. Uh, Today we're going to be talking about something that's very dear to both of us, me and the nintenlady. It is
Ooh.
the season one of Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelist Kingdom. So what we're going to do here is we're going to dissect. Duelist Kingdom. Mainly, we're just going to critique
Ramble.
critique the hell out of this, ramble it on for about
Oh.
45 minutes or however long we take. Uh,
Depending on how long we know the series.
uh,
Oh man.
you've seen the full first
Of
season
course.
run.
I have to. I must. Especially the fact that little side story about who I am a little bit. I do a lot of the Yu-Gi-Oh cosplaying on the side when I'm ever at anime conventions, mostly cosplaying either Little Yugi or Pegasus, Maximilian Pegasus, a very short Pegasus, which is kind of hilarious. But it's so worth it. It's so worth it, especially when people look at you like, "Oh my god, that I haven't seen that character for years," and I'm like, so it's fun. It's
And
fun.
fun fact: the first time I met you, you were dressed as Kaiba,
Yes,
Battle
I
City
also
Kaiba.
cosplay Kaiba.
You were Battle City Kaiba. So,
Oh, I love Battle City Kaiba. It's such a fun coat.
and for me, I've been playing the game since the beginning. One of my favorite moments is always going to be this. It was this big tournament, not a tournament. It was an event that happened at a mall where if you got all the stickers, you would get a miniature Millennium Puzzle.
That's cool.
Uh, I didn't get it because every time I went to the master's table, I'd lost, and my dad didn't want to wait anymore, and my dad hates them all. So there's that. Oh, hey, there's my friend, the Soba Nerd, in the comments. How's it going? So if you're
Hello.
just tuning in, we're gonna be talking about Duelist Kingdom, the first season of Yu-Gi-Oh.
Good old Yu-Gi-Oh.
So the biggest thing we gotta talk about, just the elephant in the room, we gotta get it out of the way first thing, is the rules. We gotta talk about the rules of.
Okay, boy. So also another little quick recap.
Yeah, go
I
for it.
am literally sitting down and re-watching the whole entire series. So I literally sat down and watched all of season 0. And I'm like, you know what? Screw it. Let's just continue watching and go all the way until we see Dark Side of Dimensions, which is technically supposed to be the ending of the original arc.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, season 0 definitely was 10 times interesting. Just because they actually showed more variety of games versus what the original series did.
Mm-hmm.
But when I started watching the original series, I am just so happy and I'm just sitting here questioning half of it because wow. They had so many rules. Like, okay, you have to know the meta today versus when it actually started in like early 2000. Oh my god.
And it's interesting because when you first look at Yu-Gi-Oh, the original manga, the Duel Monsters card game was like a very small part of it. Uh,
Yeah, it was beyond small. Like they didn't even get to it till like when I was watching the anime.
mhm.
They haven't got to it till like episode at least 5 or 6. And the first 3 or 4 episodes, they're literally trying to establish the friendship between Joey and Tristan, or in their Japanese terms, Jonachi and Honda.
Mhm.
That's their Japanese names,
Yeah.
of course. but I'm going with the English because everybody likes the English names better. Me personally, I like it better.
And
But
like I could understand in the manga and the season zero where it's like we don't know what the game is. We haven't created
yeah,
one. But in the first season of Yu-Gi-Oh, just like
right
honestly,
off the bat.
like you see them play the game at first, like okay, it's kind of like
Yeah, like right off the bat, even with freaking Joey playing the game and trying to learn the basics, and freaking Yugi's like, Joey, Earth to Joey! And I'm like, that's right, that's the first line. Wow, did I forget?
because like
But it was just, oh man.
you look at it, simple numbers, like okay, my monster's stronger than yours, fine. But once you actually get to the Duelist Kingdom, it's like, oh, because we have this land, we have a 20% increase in the attack.
The meadow versus the mountains, where Joey started freaking out. It's like, but the meadow is like Yugi's sitting there. It's like, dude, you're fine. You still have some meadow. You still get the boost. And
like
it's like,
like the first season, you can't deny it. They borrowed heavily from Pokemon. Where it's like, oh, it's a
oh my
flying
gosh.
monster. It has advantage over Earth monsters.
That's right, because Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh, they were competing at the time for
Mm-hmm.
basically number one slot. That's right. They
And,
were neck and neck, my god. Not just that, but some of the voice actors from Yu-Gi-Oh also worked on Pokemon. Like, for example, the voice actor for Kaiba, Eric Stewart, he also works as being James and Brock of the original series.
oh, I didn't know that.
hmm And even Dan Green worked on Pokemon a few times later on this series. As I remember, one of the characters, actually, he was one of the Pokemon for the Hoenn region, Trico, and he also voiced Mewtwo, the one that we all know
Oh
from the
wow.
first movie. Yep, that's Dan Green, and also Entei, because Entei.
And I just remember going to my first tournament. I've never read the rule book. I just watched
Oh
the
no!
anime, and then I'm
Oh
just like,
no!
what the hell's tribute summoning? What do
Yeah,
you mean? 4 5 star? What that means something?
that's a
There's
thing.
like we don't need these star chips that they sell at the front. We
No.
don't. There was a and like you like what Yu-Gi-Oh came out what 2001 2002 2000.
Actually, it came out in '98 with the manga, but we didn't get the series, like the English official dub, until early 2000.
Yeah, so I
No,
was
late
like
2000, not early 2000, late 2000. What am I saying?
so it was like 10 or 11. So for me, honest mistake. But if I try to do that now with Duelist Kingdom, I'd be lost. I'd be like, what the hell are these abilities?
Oh
Like,
my god.
what even? Like, we were talking before the stream. You said how you're talking about the Mega Tsunami episode where he summons the
Oh,
moon and
when
he can
Yami Yugi
attack
summons the
the moon.
Oh my god. So, like I said, I'm rewatching the series,
Hmm.
and I'm already seeing so many problems. But once Yami literally pulled out the moon card, I literally had to pause the episode just to see the card. And I'm like, did they seriously just put a copy and paste of the card from NASA or something? Because it was bad. Like, let me see if I can find that photo I had. Because
For those of you
look at
watching,
this.
the Nintenlady is an artist, so she's gonna definitely.
Look at this.
Oh wow, that's terrible.
That's horrible.
That's straight
And
up
I'm like,
copy paste.
oh my god, I literally had to pause it, and I'm like, we didn't give a crap about it when we were younger. But when you see it now, and it's like, did they just seriously get a picture from NASA and just copy and paste it onto the freaking card? Like,
Hmm.
wow, that's bad. I just literally had to find a photo, like, take a photo of it and show it to some of my friends who also played the game and seen the anime, and I'm like, wow, this is really bad. This is bad.
And it makes me wonder, like when did the game come out? Like, because I know
The actual card game itself?
because I'm pretty sure, like, to give it some leeway, it had to go like, okay, we have to see if this show can go on. Cool. Now we'll print out a card game just so we don't lose so much money. But like, wow, like you like he even attacked the moon in the same episode, and
Yeah,
it's like
it
you
was
attack
stupid.
the magic card. The one that gets me the most is Swords of Revealing Light And the big episode that gets
The
me,
Panic versus Yami
that's
Yugi
exactly
episode.
the
Oh
episode.
my god.
My biggest issue with that is like, okay, so no, 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 it was some other thing that trapped the monsters inside. Swords just kept it floating. It's like, I'm going to
That's
attack your
right.
castle, but because your magic card,
No,
like,
it was the magic barrier that Swords
right,
Revealing
right.
Light had. So when Yami activated the card, just you said, "Oh yeah, I could stop you for 3 turns just because I'm cool and all that." Panic is like, "Wait, what?" And then he looks at the field and it's like, "Oh crap! All my monsters are trapped in this barrier." And then he looks up at the ring, and then Yami Yugi is like, "Haha, I'm not gonna attack your monsters." And he's like, "Why?" He's like, "Do you not see the little crack on your freaking fortress's ring?" And he's like, "Whoa!" And it's like, "Yeah,
To be
this
honest,
is
within the rules of what they've made in this show, Joey and Yugi should not have won any duel. Like, if you think about it, because
oh my god, there
there's
was so
so.
many times where they should have lost, and I'm
Oh, absolutely. Like, oh, I'm
like,
gonna
I think,
do
oh, you know what duel that Joey should have lost? Actually, now that I was thinking about it so much,
which one?
Joey versus Mai, the very first duel, he should have lost because
What is that?
when he activated Time Wizard, obviously the harpy sisters, they went down a lot of attack points just because I pass a millennium and they get over age and old and hell and all that stuff. I was looking at their attack and I'm like, my shit at least has 600 life points. That should not have been a direct one turn kill.
No,
But
she gave up
even
after that.
no, she never
Hmm.
did. What?
Because the thing was, her only card was the Harpy Lady, and Yugi even
Oh,
said this.
egotist and all that, yeah.
She would only power up that card, and
Yeah.
so pretty much everything she did was for that one card. So there was no point
But
of
I
her
think it was
continuing.
But I think it was after when Joey figured out, like, oh yeah, she's doing a wrong move and this and that. But I'm still sitting here like, even if she did quote unquote give up, she should have had at least 600 life points left.
Right.
There was actual basic math, and I'm sitting here like, Joey should have lost. I'm flat out gonna say Joey should have lost. Just because there was no way in hell. There was no stinking way. That was just that was total BS. Especially if the fact that the harpies had that magic ability of not being attacked by any land monsters, and I'm like, this is still BS. This is total BS.
And the
What the
first
hell
dual
is
disc,
this?
the first dual disc made no sense. Like,
Oh my god.
because you look at the layout, how they did it was like, wait, how's this work? Like,
Yeah, that's right. Because it was basically like, haha, toss, and it's like, the card should have been flying out, honestly. The card should have been flying out of the duel disc like no tomorrow, because it was spinning. It was spinning.
it
And I'm
was,
sitting here like, oh my god.
and the fact that there's also no direct attacks. Like,
Yeah, that's right.
no direct attacks. There was only like there was one of the big episodes at the end of the first season was Yugi versus Bandit Keith, and it's just
Yeah,
like Bandit Keith should have won. He had so many monsters on the field, he could have just wiped
true.
them. But
And they were powerful ones too.
it is what it is. Now,
Honestly, Duelist Kingdom just I'm still flabbergasted on how a lot of people literally saw this and they're like, these are the rules. How they
we didn't
get
think about it.
away with a lot. Oh, even because I was looking a little bit, when did the actual card game start? It started in '96 actually, but we didn't get the manga or anime till '98,
Really?
early 2000.
Huh.
So looking at it carefully, I'm like, we didn't establish these rules till like 2003, 2004 at least. And I'm like, wow, this is dumb.
A
Like,
lot of it probably was, you know what, let's just, because, yeah, the original story was going to have multiple games.
yeah.
I guess they just like, no, let's go with the card game. That was probably going to be the best bet.
I
Uh,
think even Takahashi himself, when I was reading the Egypt arc, they had like a little saying at the end. It's like, oh yeah, I stuck with the card game because that's the one thing a lot of people will know how to talk about, a game in general. So if I stick with something people will know, card
Hmm.
games, it would just make that connection a lot faster. And I'm like, yeah, that makes sense.
Now,
But
it's interesting because, like, again, it's a game that made no sense, but essentially the best thing we had to relate to was Pokemon. Because it's
yeah,
like, okay, well, you have monsters, they have monsters, until they have.
they basically, like you said yourself, copy it and paste it. Even just like I said, rewatching the first 2-3 episodes, they literally were calling out attacks. Like freaking Dragon of the Fortress, like, oh go Dragon of the Fortress, fireball attack, and I'm like, it's goddamn Pokemon. Just cooler and edgier.
Oh man. But now that we're going into certain things, let's the plot. This is where
Okay.
now for me, my biggest issue is just the whole Pegasus, his reasoning to take over Kyber Corp, and the Duelist Kingdom tournament makes no sense for a couple of reasons.
Okay, because I kind of know where you're gonna go,
Mm-hmm.
tiny bit. The Kaiba Corp thing totally did not make any sense, and the funny part is, I'm actually getting to that episode again, so I can kind of remember a little bit. No, that part did not make absolute sense.
I'm like, my biggest thing was Kaiba essentially gives your game life. Why would you want to take
Destroy
it,
the game.
take his
Yeah.
company? I mean, like he lost once, but it's like this company still makes you pop millions, if not billions of
Multi-million
dollars.
dollars. Yeah.
It's like, why would
And
you take him out?
especially the fact that later on this series, when you get to what is it? The second series, I forgot what it was. The virtual world, I think it is,
Mm-hmm.
where they actually establish more of the dual disc. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, why are you trying to take out the one competition that's literally making you so much money just because of the hologram feature? It's like, oh my god, this is so stupid.
Like,
If
I can understand where they go with the dual disc, just because it's like, there's so many stadiums. It's hard to even book a match or whatever.
even with the stadiums, like if you remember, even in Dark Side Dimensions, they did use a stadium near the end of the movie.
I did not watch that one.
God damn it, you need to watch it. It's so
But
good.
uh,
Oh wait, no, freaking up Pyramid of Light. Have you seen that one?
I've seen that one. Yeah,
Okay, yeah,
they did.
it has
Yes,
a
yes, yes,
stadium.
yes. They used
So
it.
they use a dual disc there.
They used it. They used the original dual stadium Kaiba versus Pegasus. But
It's still a
then,
stadium.
yeah, yeah. But to go back to it, it's like, why did he want to take over? Why did he need to kidnap Mokuba? Why
Honestly, there was no point. It was kind of stupid.
you
It
have
was
the
beyond
you
stupid.
have the one guy that's making you money and bringing life to your game. It's like, why would you want to screw him over? You like,
Yeah,
he knows how
it's
to build this stuff. Why would you?
it's kind of hilarious, honestly, and kind of stupid.
And the biggest thing with the tournament, why is it like, I understand Kaiba wants Yugi's puzzle, but why is it if
Not
Yugi,
Kaiba, Pegasus.
sorry, Pegasus, if Pegasus wanted Yugi's puzzle, why is it that if Yugi loses, he gets Kyber Corp too?
Honestly, I
Where,
don't
what
remember
contract?
that.
what con-
Honestly, I don't remember that. Like I said, I'm rewatching that specific episode part. Like I'm already at that part in the series, and
I
I literally have to sit there and try and make sense of it because
I think it
it
was
makes no sense.
the Kaiba clone. He mentions how, like,
Oh, that's
if
right.
Yugi loses from a representative of Pegasus, he also gets Kaiba Corp, which it's like,
It's still dumb.
who agreed to that? What legal document agreed to that? Because it's like,
Honestly, in my opinion, that was by far the dumbest subplot. I really wish they kind of did not do that and just continued working on Pegasus wanting the puzzle for the specific reason he's trying to bring back his wife,
and
which makes 10 times more sense.
that's a great plot. But the also other thing is, what if Yugi never made it to the finals? Because like,
True.
because the only reason they did top four because Yugi was there. But it's
That's
like,
right.
what if the first four show up and it's like, oh, is Yugi not here? No, Yugi
Yeah,
got
because
eliminated like early in the game. Oh.
Oh yeah,
Did
no,
anyone
that
take
makes
his
absolute
puzzle?
sense.
Nah, he just
That
got
makes
beat by
absolute
Niflheim.
sense. Just because even Pegasus himself said it. Whoever gets the first 10 star chips gets to go and duel him for the grand prize of
Mm-hmm.
3 million, or this freaking blank card. No one knows what the hell it does.
Oh,
And
that's
it's
whatever you
like,
want.
oh yeah, that's right. It was kind of stupid. Like, I really like that, but at the same time, you're absolutely right. What if Yugi or Joey or anybody that we knew from the main cast, what if they never even got a chance to go on the board ship or anything like that? Because I think it's in episode 2 or 3 they established that Yugi gave Joey a star chip,
Mm-hmm.
so they were both at a huge disadvantage. So that was kind of dumb. And what also made the whole entire that arc alone really kind of why is the
Mm-hmm.
fact that it took place over 3 days.
Yep. Duelist Kingdom is
So
only three
dumb.
days long, and
Like,
like just and going back to the whole like everything about Duelist Kingdom, because like one, yes, you have the biggest flaw of what if Yugi never makes it? What if
mm-hmm.
someone beats Pegasus before Yugi even gets a chance to get in?
Honestly, it should have been Bandit Keith actually, but the fact that Pegasus caught him cheating, he's like, not gonna
Mm-hmm.
allow that to happen.
And of course, Pegasus is cheating too. But
Yes and no. I will give him a little bit of a leeway because he actually does stick to his own rules. Even with the quote unquote cheating in the actual duel
mm-hmm.
itself, he does still stick to the rule. He actually does play fair. He's like, look, if you beat me, I will give it to you. And I'm like,
But
there's
his
not many
eye.
villains that do that. Like I said, but there's still not many villains that even play by their own rules
Mm-hmm.
like that. So I would give him at least that.
What and the other thing with Duelist Kingdom is like one, it's like first off, did they tell anyone? By the way, there was like no food here. I
Yeah,
hope you brought camping
stupid.
supplies.
Like I
Like,
said, with just the
don't die.
Mego, like the
Don't die.
Mego tsunami episode, literally Joey and Tristan are like, "Yeah, we have no food. Did Teo or Yugi or anybody bring food?" And it's like, no. And I'm like, why? What? For 3 days, no food? You're gonna be dead.
Duelist Kingdom is essentially one of the like a lawsuit ready to happen.
Oh my god,
Because
it's a
like
beyond ready lawsuit. My god.
because even at the end, it's like, hey, how are we getting home?
No, they said they would by boat. That part they actually
Oh,
established.
okay. Because like,
Surprisingly, the only thing they established.
okay, I guess I missed that one because at the end it's like, hey, can Kaiba
It
give us
was
a ride?
really quick.
Can
It
Kaiba
was
give us a ride
really,
back
really
home?
brief. No, it was really brief that they mentioned that. Like split second brief, and I'm like, wow, that's not good.
And
No, it.
I've been thinking about this a lot because it's like, well, like Pegasus blatantly says, yeah, we kidnapped Mokuba. Shouldn't we just call
Yeah,
the police or something? I mean, he said
yeah,
it multiple times.
but he's also the most one of the most richest people besides
He is,
Kaiba, and it's like,
and I know Kaiba
can't
probably
do
wouldn't do it.
that.
It's like, if he goes down, my company goes down too.
Basically,
But like Pegasus probably has like the best PR people because like, hey,
he's
founder
the
of this
creator
game,
of the game in that world. Yeah,
like the founder of this game has been found mutilated with his eye missing.
yeah. Funny
He has the
enough,
best
funny
PR people.
enough. Yeah, funny enough, in the manga, he's killed off.
Really?
Yeah, in the manga, once Bakura took out the eye, he's killed. He's
Oh.
done. You don't see him again.
Hmm.
But in the anime, because 4Kids likes to censor everything, as we kind of established already,
Mm-hmm.
um, they basically said he just slipped into a coma once the eye was pulled out, and that's why we were able to see him again at the very end of the series.
Hmm. Okay.
It was weird. I'm like, okay, because even in the manga series, like I said, when he got killed off, there, you don't mention they mention him here and there, but they don't explain what the hell happened. But in one of the spin-off mangas between Battle City and Egypt, those two arcs, there's a little one-off manga, five volumes long,
Mm-hmm.
that literally established more of Pegasus' backstory and the fact that like he actually had 2 kids. Freaking he did a lot for his time. He did a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, good God. This guy, this guy, friggin'
and
jeez.
and more of the inconsistencies. Like first episode, the world champ Kaiba is in the classroom with everyone else. It's like this guy owns a
Yeah.
company. Why is he still in school? Second,
I'm just more surprised that he was not surrounded by bodyguards, especially as a
yeah,
world
it's
champion in a school. Like, wow,
like that's the
kind
owner
of
of Kaiba
stupid.
Corp, Seto Kaiba. It's in his name. Why is
Yeah,
he? Why is he in class 1A? Like, what's up with that?
it was dumb. Like even just watching it and the fact that he's like reading a book and hearing this card game going on, and it's like rare card. What?
And that's
It's
another thing
just
Kaiba should have been thrown in jail for Yugi's grandfather.
oh my god, he
It's
should
like
have been in jail immediately. My
like
god.
Kaiba calls him. It's like, hey, go pick up your grandfather. Hold on, before I show up, let me call the police real quick. Hey, Kaiba's kidnapped my grandfather. Do you have proof? He literally just called me and like, okay.
Yeah, honestly, there was a lot of BS in that, and I'm like, this is dumb. This is so dumb. Just trying to get through it, I'm like, wow, we really liked how dumb this was.
And the big thing is the card economy. Not only the card economy and economy in general in this world makes
Oh, the Domino City economy.
because the thing is there's supposed to be only four Blue Eyes White Dragons. Now there's only three because Kaiba tearing up one of them.
Correct.
Why is there so much support for it? like, like there's only three of
I
these
think
cards
it's
in
more.
existence. Like that's more
I'm
towards
not
later in the
surprised. Yeah.
series,
Oh yeah, that's right.
but it's also like,
That's right.
how is it not possible? No one's ever summoned Exodia. I'm sure there's drawing cards.
Oh my god.
Like,
Speaking of
and
Exodia.
we've talked about this. Like Yugi's grandfather's deck had five cards. There was some guy on a boat with a couple of Exodia pieces, and later
Yeah.
in Battle City, a guy
Okay.
had three sets of them in his deck.
So for people that don't remember the actual scene,
Mm-hmm.
when uh Weevil introduced himself saying, "Look, oh yeah, I stole the rules to the whole tournament and all that." Joey was wandering around the little trading booth area, and people are trading cards left and right. There were some cards that people were trading that you could barely see. One of
Mm-hmm.
them was an Exodia piece. I think it was the arm. And I'm literally sitting there like, if Exodia is considered the rarest of the bunch, because you need 5 pieces to summon him,
Mm-hmm.
if he's considered that rare and that difficult, why the hell does someone have an Exodia piece already trading?
I I don't
Why?
think it's necessarily the rarest card. I think in their world, it's the hardest combo to pull off.
Oh yeah, even Grandpa has said himself, it's considered one of the hardest ones. No one else was able to pull it off, etc. BS, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm like,
Like,
but
and
it's still dumb. Like, why would you trade away an Exodia piece when you know it's like one of the most epic combos that anybody could pull off, basically?
I feel mainly the reason why we don't see a lot of Exodia is just it's too convenient. It's like for this world, it's too powerful for the sense that it's an auto win and
Oh, the funny part is, I
yeah.
even got into a fun discussion with a friend of mine about
Mm-hmm.
that, like saying, when literally Weevil got the Exodia pieces and literally said, say goodbye to Exodia and freaking tossed it overboard. I'm like, that is the dumbest but most clever move that they actually done. And my friend was like, why? And I'm like, dude, if literally Yugi had Exodia from Duelist Kingdom all the way to the Egypt arc, let's just
Mm-hmm.
hypothetically,
Yeah, yeah.
that would have been the most massive crutch for him to hold on to and basically win every single one just because I could assemble the basically auto win monster.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, if they did not remove it, we would not even see half of the plot that we got. A good half of the plot we will not see. Because, like I said, it would have been super convenient for him just to summon Exodia out of nowhere.
It was a necessary
And,
thing to do. It was
oh, it was beyond necessary. It was dumb, but necessary. And I'm like, well played on their end, but goddamn, that was stupid.
and I remember the the playground discussions of, oh, this is how Yugi gets Exodia back, or this is how Yugi's gonna
They
like
never explained it.
it never happens. It never
Nope.
happens.
It never happened. It never brought up. They never explained it. And it's just by like pure coinking, like, oh yeah, I have Exodia back, and it's like, dude, it was like tossed out freaking second or third episode into the series. How the hell did you get it back?
Yeah, I remember those days of just all of us just like, oh, this is how, this is how. No, it's not going to happen.
Even one of my friends I was talking to, I forgot, I don't remember which friend. I know I talked about this too. You don't see Dark Magician until literally second or third episode.
No, the first episode.
Really?
Yeah, he summons the Dark Magician, but then it gets wiped out by the Blue Eyes.
Oh yeah, that's right. What made me laugh though was the fact I'm like, wait, was the Dark Magician never in Grandpa's deck? Or not? I don't remember. Because
And
he never mentioned it. Because
mhm.
he's like, oh yeah, my prized possession is the freaking Blue Eyes. And it's like, wait a minute, where the hell did Dark Magician come from? So dumb.
It's this world. Like I've always had the idea of like if I had my deck versus Yugi, I'm like, oh, I demolish him. It'd be no.
Okay, if you modernize it, yes.
Yes,
But if you were to go up against the same rules they had back then, that would be
but
very difficult.
it would because even if there's a lot of cards out there where it's just like, yeah, who again the whole card economy. And what I mean by that for the viewers is the card economy, meaning like best way I could put it is think of Pokemon. You have clutch cards that you absolutely need. Um, but if only certain amount of cards are printed, um, obviously whoever owns those has the advantage. Because I remember back in the day for Pokemon, Shaman EX was a necessary card because
Yeah, that's right.
you drop him, you draw him until you have 6 cards. If it's draw power, then you could scoop it back up, do it again. So in this
Yeah.
world, that's the Blue Eyes. There's
The Blue
only
Eyes or
three.
Dark Magician, those two. Those were the two most iconic monsters people were trying to get their hands on.
Hmm. And for the Blue Eyes, there's only 3 playable ones. So
Correct.
it's just like, well, of course Kaiba's gonna win matches. He's a beatdown deck. Like you look at every card in his deck, he has like the highest attack power of everything. Even
Yeah.
someone like Bandit Keith would definitely have an issue going against Kaiba. But it's just like, don't you think you'd make more money or the game would get more love if you put more cards out? But then again, obviously the Blue Eyes is synonymous with Kaiba, so it's for plot reasons you can't add more.
Yeah, honestly, what makes it hilarious, because, like, I was doing a little bit of research of the
Mm-hmm.
card economy, you could say. It's 10 times more complicated back then versus now.
Mm-hmm.
Because now it's just like, oh yeah, you got Blue Eyes Alternative Dragon, Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon, and I'm like, how many more Blue Eyes do we freaking need for a deck?
I can only imagine it's like, oh, there's a new Blue Eyes card. Kaiba buys it. There's a new.
Yeah,
I no, it's
basically.
mine.
No, I'm buying all of them. I don't care. I'm not giving it to poor people. And it's like, okay, bro. Okay, bro. You need to stop with the Blue Eyes fetish. Seriously, man. No, it's just, oh my god, the card economy in that game, at this point, freaking Yugi would have been the richest kid with one of the most rare cards being Dark Magician or Exodia at that point. And then friggin' Kaiba, he's already a rich boy. We can't say much about that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just so bizarre. And then when, like, people are writing stories and whatever of the Yu-Gi-Oh stories and whatever, you have to stick so close to the lore, and it's like, it's frustrating. Like, it's beyond frustrating. Like, even when you try to write something and it's like, wait a minute, you have to stick so close to the lore of, like, there was only one Dark Magician, there's only 3 Blue Eyes, even if they print 20 billion copies for our generation of what we know, when you stick to the story of the actual lore, it's like, nope, they're not gonna allow it, and I'm like, this is stupid. This
And it
is
makes
dumb.
and for the world of Duelist Kingdom at least, and so on, themed decks like this is a dinosaur deck, the Harpy Lady deck, the
Fish deck.
whatever Joey has.
Warriors.
Yeah,
Oh, his evolved from warriors to red eyes over time.
and then eventually losing the red eyes.
Yeah, and that duel still never happened. I'm still waiting for that one. Where even Joey was talking to Yugi. I remember that so well. Joey's like, "Look, I don't want to take it back just yet. I want to earn it back." And I'm
Hmm.
like, "When are we gonna see that?" Because how did he get it back? They never showed it. They never showed that specific duel. And somehow later on this series, you see Joey get the card back, and I'm like, "Wait, did Yugi technically lose to Joey? What?"
Oh
Because
man.
that's what he said. That is technically what he did say. And I'm like, this is dumb. This is getting dumber by the minute. My brain cells are leaving 100 attack each time something dumb happens. Oh god.
But overall, with Duelist Kingdom, you know, there's so much like logic is just out the window from like
It's beyond out the window. I
like
remember.
trying to kill Kaiba to take over Kaiba Corp,
Yeah,
kidnapping his brother to
yeah,
take over Kaiba Corp, not thinking that Yugi might not make it all the way to the end of the tournament, and also just like the rules. There's so much wrong with the first season, but for some reason, we all fell in love with it and we all started
yeah.
playing.
Honestly, what made it hilarious, because I'm just sitting here looking at this and I'm like, wow, so much of it. Like I said, I watched season 0 before I rewatched season
Hmm.
1. And a lot of the rules they did keep from season 0, surprisingly, with the different field zones. Like, oh yeah, Meadow gives 20% boost to my warriors and all that. No, that actually is exactly from the season 0, where they actually had the different fields, and I'm like, oh yeah, this monster does good in the water field, or this one does good in the forest. And I'm like, okay, that's a nice homage to basically where it all started. At the same time, it was still pretty damn stupid.
Let's make the numbers easy. Why 20%? Just say 200 attack more or something.
Yeah, like why give kids math? This is
And
supposed to be a Saturday morning cartoon.
this is what frustrated me the most is like, oh, Joey's gonna send every single monster to the opposing creature when he could literally see the attack power on his computer screen.
Oh
What?
my god.
Why? Why? One thing that
That's
the
right.
one that pissed me off the most was Yugi versus no, not Yugi. It was Joey versus Kaiba when they first show you the dual disc. The
Okay.
Flame Swordsman has 1800 attack. The Battle Ox
Yeah.
only has 1700. They pull the bullshit of they pull the BS of no, Joey. Earth monsters are strong against fire. It's like get the hell
That's
out of here. Get the
right.
hell out of here.
Because the field zone thing was still effective, even with the fact that it was like a brand new tech and whatever.
It's like
No,
no, it was just the elemental stuff. Like oh, like
yeah, that's where
what?
everything just
No.
what the hell? That was stupid. That was by far the dumbest thing they did. And I swear, I'm glad they kind of changed to modern rules of like, yeah, no, we ain't gonna follow that BS, because
They had to. I mean,
it
like
was bad. It was bad.
I'm gonna fuse my monster with a magic card.
Huh?
What? You could do that?
Wait,
Oh, hold on, guys. You could do that? Like what?
you guys, we could do fusion summons. I think that's what it's called. No,
And
oh my god, there was one duel I rewatched. It was Weevil versus Yugi, where a Great Moth was a big freaking deal.
mm-hmm,
So Weevil was attacking the Dark Magician card that Yami placed on the field.
mm-hmm,
And then Yami's like, haha, you can't do that. And he's like, wait, what? Why? And then he activates Mirror Force. We all know the actual effect of Mirror Force. Basically, whenever your opponent's monster attacks your monster, you activate Mirror Force, and any attacking monster is basically destroyed.
mm-hmm.
No, they wanted to take it a step further in the anime. They're like, okay, your monster gets destroyed, and basically you lose life points depending on what monster attacked. And it's like,
I remember
it's
that. I
bas-
remember that.
it was so dumb.
Another
It's
one was
basically what?
when they drenched the whole field with water, and
Oh,
then
the
the
maple syrup. Yeah.
summon skull just goes, "All right,
I'm gonna conduct
it
electricity.
exactly." They made a card eventually.
Oh.
Uh, that was an electric type summon skull,
Yeah,
but
that's right.
it was just like, what?
It's
We
so
got Pokemon rules
dumb.
now. What?
Like, oh yeah, because the field is all damped and your bug became basically a giant lightning rod, it's gonna get burnt to crisp. And it's like, huh?
I
And then
feel
what?
I feel the most broken card for that. First off, other than them being able to play trap cards from their hand, other than
Yes.
that, but I feel the most broken card has been Call of the Haunted because zombie creatures just keep coming back. Paired with the Pumpkin King, they keep coming back even stronger. I was
Yeah.
like, because
This is
it
dumb. This is
honestly,
dumb.
the Call of the Haunted was just a revival, not
Oh
a
yeah, basically.
not a godly.
Basically, basically the anime they basically said I'm gonna bring back the whole entire army that you destroyed. When in reality, it's like no, you're only bringing back one monster, like Monster Reborn, just from your graveyard versus your opponent. It's like this is dumb. This is still dumb. Even like,
Yep,
yeah, pretty cute,
she wants to join.
but no, it was just really hilarious just rewatching that duel still and trying to remember all the rules that they had. Oh my god. Friggin' Bones. That was the character name. Bones. With a friggin' oh yeah, I'm gonna toss in Call of the Haunted. Especially the fact that Pumpkin brings attack power to all my zombies, and it's like, wow, this is dumb.
Another thing was Bandit Keith's machine monsters aren't affected by spellcasters. I was like,
Yeah.
then I'd play machines then. why
What do you
why
want me to
bother?
do? What do you want me to do about it? And then the fact that it's just like Bandit Keith alone. What a scum. My god, what a scumbag.
But he brought
Just,
every single card with him because when he opened his jacket, he had pockets filled with cards.
hey guys, you want my cards? So bad.
It makes me wonder why
Oh
didn't
my
he get
god.
invited?
Good question, honestly. I don't remember. I know they explained it, but I just don't remember, honestly.
Like I if anything, if I knew he faced Pegasus
Yes.
before, but either if he
Oh, you know
got
what I think it was?
suspended or whatever.
I think it's because of he was I think from what I remember when he when he went up against the kid and Pegasus like was writing down like his little note like, "Oh yeah, all you got to do is just do what I say on this piece of paper and you will win." And then, the kid, he's like playing the cards and then Bandit Keith is like, "Wait, what? How?" And it's like, "Oh yeah, this piece of paper told me if I play this card, I basically win. Uh, did you just lose?" And then friggin' Bandy Keith had a hissy fit about it, and I think Pegasus did not appreciate that, and he's like, "Yeah,
That would
no,
make
I'm not
sense.
gonna do
He'd
that."
be probably like suspended or something like that. But
Probably
like
just because of hissy fit.
even when Beneke showed up, Pegasus just could have been like, he was invited.
Yeah, no,
Like, hold
exactly.
up.
But even Pegasus was so chill about it. He's like, "Yeah, no, I knew you were coming. I know you're gonna cheat.
Even
Try."
even Joey, it's like you weren't invited. Who brought this kid?
Yeah, basically. Oh my god, that cracks me up even a little bit as well because in the Duelist Kingdom, Pegasus is only supposed to be 24.
That's right. He's not an old man. He's
No, he's supposed to be young. Like, good god. And then friggin' Kaiba's supposed to be 16, 17 years old. Yugi's about 15. And you're just sitting here like, holy hell, these guys are young. And then freaking obviously when we hear the voice actors, I think they actually started the series when they were like early 30s too.
Oh wow.
So that's why they sounded so like I'm gonna sound very macho in this.
Can you
But
imagine?
no, it makes total sense. But wow, it was weird.
Because they have people on Duelist Kingdom, young and old. It's like, all right, you need to
Mm-hmm.
sign a permission slip. You took my grandfather. Who's gonna sign this
That's
permission slip? Like, I
oh
can't
god.
go. It's like,
That's
oh,
amazing. I didn't think about that. That's
uh,
hilarious.
Yugi can go. Oh, then why does he get to go? I want to go. Like,
Because he has protagonist hair. That's why he could
can
go.
you
It's like,
imagine? It's like, wait, what do you mean Yugi never made it to the island? He didn't have a signed permission slip. What do you mean he didn't have a signed permission slip? You took his grandfather. Oh,
yes,
damn.
but we still cannot allow it because he's still a minor. He's a high schooler. He's still a minor because he's under the age of 18.
It's like,
Or
oh,
no,
I didn't
back
think
then it would
about
be
that.
under the age of 16. I think it would be 16 in Japan versus the
Hmm.
US, actually, now that I think about
But
it.
even if his in the manga he's supposed to be 15, he still
Yeah,
needs permission.
still need that permission slip. It is so dumb. So dumb. Oh
Hey,
my god.
that
Yeah,
I that cracks me up just for the fact it's just like, yeah, who like
none of them actually should have made it. Well, Joey, Tay, and Tristan, I think, would have been 16 at least. But freaking Yugi, hell no, he ain't gonna be able to make it. It's like, why? Even if he transforms into Yami Yugi, it's like,
it's just
how old are you? I don't freaking know,
and,
dude.
and
My
that's another
figure's
thing.
wiped.
Like no one ever addresses. Did Yuki just get taller? What the hell happened right
Yeah,
there? Like,
honestly, that's what cracks me up so much. Because when you see, okay, here's what cracks me up, and I'm so glad 4Kids kind of actually did this, or the season 1 version of Yu-Gi-Oh! Because season 0, literally, Yugi looks like he's a elementary school kid.
he
Like, he
does. Yeah.
looks that damn young. And I'm like, he's supposed to be a high schooler, but he looks that young. No, that's not gonna fly, dude. That ain't gonna fly! So the fact that they made him look a lot older in season 1, I am so glad they did. I'm like, that makes 10 times more sense, but still looks stupid. Still looks stupid, but at least it actually looks more like his age versus I'm gonna look like a child. Because even in season 0, they literally made fun of the fact he does look like a kid. Like every single episode, he's either beaten up to a pulp or someone calls him a kid, and I'm like, boy, do I feel bad for this kid. Like, jeez.
So we're coming up to time. Any last thoughts of Duelist Kingdom?
Oh boy. Do I have any last thoughts? Is a better question. Um, I liked. Okay, man, I like the fact that they actually kind of did the star chips
Mm-hmm.
because if anybody remembers anything about Duelist Kingdom besides the most I remember one BS thing I have to totally point out. Uh, I liked the Star Chips aspect because it is something very iconic. People can put, one and one together. So like whenever I'm cosplaying Pegasus for like let's say Anime Los Angeles or AX or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
usually I carry on me some Star Chips. And literally whenever like someone recognizes my character or something, I usually hand them a Star Chip and they're like, "Oh my god." Like their face lights up like a Christmas tree. Cuz whenever you think of Duelist Kingdom, you're literally off the bat gonna think Pegasus, Star Chips, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Like right off the bat. So when someone gets a Star Chip from like one of the quote unquote main characters, their faces, oh my god, it's so priceless. Like I remember one person I gave no, there was like god, there was a good few memories, but one person I gave a Star Chip to, he's like, "Oh my god, Maximilian Pegasus gave me a star chip!" And he just started freaking out, and I'm like, what do I do? So I'm just standing there trying to be in character, and I'm trying so hard not to laugh because it was just so priceless seeing that. And then there were some other people I gave star chips to, and even some people tagged me in some of the photos on Instagram saying, "Yeah, I still have that star chip till this day." And I'm like, I feel special, but
That's
holy
awesome.
smokes! Like, out of all the characters, honestly, the two that have the biggest impact for like my personal growth in cosplaying world would be Yugi and Pegasus. Honestly, Kaiba's fun to cosplay and all, but it definitely does not fit my personality as much compared to like those two. And they grew on me for a very long time. They have a very very special place for my cosplay world of growing and God knows what. But oh my god, it was oh my god, it's fun. It's fun. But there was one other thing I wanted to remember. There was one BS duel I remember in Duelist Kingdom really quick. I think it was Duelist Kingdom. Uh, Blue Eyes Ultimate melting.
Oh yeah, that's because of the fusion of a monster and a bow and arrow, or whatever he fused.
Mammoth Graveyard. I'm gonna
Yep.
stick with friggin' the Arrow of Light or some BS like that. Friggin' let a string shot your way into the friggin' Blue Eyes Ultimate, and for every turn that passes, it's gonna lose attack. And then friggin' Kaiba's standing at the edge of the building like, ha, 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 if you even try to attack, I'm gonna fall. And it's like, wow, this is dark and dumb. This should not, because when you're dueling, you know, especially in Battle City or Duelist Kingdom rule, I don't remember which one. The blast should not be that huge, especially if it's a freaking hologram. Like there shouldn't be any ripple effect of the waves or whatever, or smoke or whatever. And it's like, what? What? Duelist Kingdom? What? Like, oh my god, Duelist Kingdom alone. I'll put it this way: there's a drinking game around Duelist Kingdom for a reason. Because my god, even I was telling one of my friends, if I was able to drink, I think I would have been dead drunk by at least the second episode. Because
I gotta check
I
this out.
know, because when you know so many of the rules, and when you see so many bad edits, and when you hear them say Yu-Gi-Oh! Or it's time to duel, you're literally gonna have to take a shot every time. And it's like, yeah, no, by second episode, you're done. And, oh yeah, that was the other funny thing I noticed too, really quick. Um, you remember how Yugi transforms into Yami Yugi? How there was like an actual sequence, right?
Yes.
Where it's like Yugioh, and then the little puzzle freaking jumps around and all that shit. That only appears for like 5, 6 episodes, and then they literally just stopped.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I understand why, but why? It was actually kind of cool, but at the same time, it was kind of dumb. I'm like,
I mean,
I kind
probably
of think
animation
too
budget.
much.
Rather spend
I
it on
don't
the
know if it was.
monsters versus
Gotta make those holograms look cool.
yeah.
So
Uh,
dumb. Because
final. Oh, good.
even with the edits that they did, there was a lot of bad edits already spotted, and I'm like, I'm trying so hard not to laugh or pause, because I'm like, if I pause it, I'm just gonna stare at that for such a long time. Holy smokes! Just like that moon, the moon, dumb, beyond dumb.
My final thoughts. I still love it. I mean,
Oh
I
yeah,
I love the first season. I love the whole series.
it's
My
a good one.
my two favorite memories is my dad, who hates going to malls, took me and my brother to go to this event where if you collect all 7 stickers, you get a mini Millennium puzzle. Yeah, I kept trying and trying. I had all but the last sticker, but then he was just like, "All right, I'm done. Let's go home. You've had your fun." We were
That's
there
another
for
memory.
we were there for a couple hours. Second
Mm.
one is oh, hello. Second one was, there's a group where I live that has like a retro Yu-Gi-Oh tournament. So from the beginning to a
Oh wow.
certain date, I think it's 2004, April 2004, you can only use those cards. And
Oh wow.
I made this one
Wow.
guy. I made this one guy like flip out when I summoned Exodia. Like he wasn't mad. He got off his chair and was like, "Exodia, what?" I'm like, "Thanks for letting everyone know what I
Thanks,
have."
guys. Yeah.
But it was one of those genuine happy moments that even though he
Yeah.
lost, he flipped out. But yeah, so
There was one.
go
Okay,
for it.
here's
Yeah,
my
go ahead. Go
final
ahead.
thought,
Go
because
ahead.
now you made me remember something very, very, very special to me. Actually,
Okay.
there's a very specific memory that I swear I tell this to one of my friends, and they're like, "Holy crap, that is such an anime thing." But this happened in 2010. Yeah,
Yeah.
2010. this was 1 year after my mom passed away, so this was still a really tough time for me, and this was my second time going to Anime Expo.
Yeah.
I am dumb at that point because I don't remember any of the rules. I have not played the game since I was 7 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so during that time frame, my mom took away my cards just because, this is from the devil. You can't play that kind of game. Freaking BS stuff as usual. And so I didn't see my cards for a very long time. Hell, even my memory was fading away of this series. Like, what the hell is this? I don't remember it at all. So 2010 rolls around. I'm like, let's rewatch the series so I could at least have some kind of memory of it. So I'm rewatching it, and I'm like, oh yeah, there were cards. I know I had some somewhere. So my dad gave me my cards back, and it was in a little Ziploc bag, and I'm like, yeah, I'm a very horrible collector.
Uh-oh.
And then throughout the year, I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna cosplay this character and this and that. So I decided to cosplay Little Yugi again because
Mm-hmm.
he's just a very fun character to cosplay, honestly. And throughout 2010, getting all these cool photos taken, people are like, oh my god, it's Yugi and this and that. There's this one particular cosplayer that stood out so much. I thank him for so many reasons. Um, Ironically enough, it was a Kaiba cosplayer. Keep in mind, I'm cosplaying Little Yugi at this time, so that's gonna be a key little memory for a reason. So I find this Kaiba, and I'm like, oh my god, it's Kaiba! I must get a photo and this and that. Being whatever age I was, 15 or 16 at that time. And then, so, the Kaiba cosplayer, he was like, yeah, sure, why not? And then he's like, wait a minute, do you duel? I'm like, there's a really long story to that, but let's just say I don't have a deck. He's like, you're kidding, and I'm like, trust me, dude, I barely got these cards back. I don't remember shit. My brain is fried. 16-year-old from school and this and that. So he decides to help me build an actual Yugi deck, with the band cards, friggin' green gadget, yellow gadget, all that stuff. He's helping me build this deck, and I'm like, oh, this is cool. What the hell's going on here? But this is cool. Keep in mind, this is a Kaiba cosplayer. A Kaiba. Helping a little Yugi with a deck. That's already ironic as hell.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously he had to go, Anime Expo life, freaking cosplaying and God knows whatever. So throughout the con, doing whatever, the last day approaches, day 4. And, still doing little Yugi cosplay and whatever, having my dual disc, looking all cool and whatever, with an actual deck finally. And some of my friends who also did Yu-Gi-Oh cosplay, they're like, wait a minute, you don't know how to duel, do you? And I'm like, no, dude, I've lost my memory of this game for a very long time, so trust me, I have no idea of any of the rules that happened. So they're like, well, maybe you should go watch this one cosplayer who's dueling and whatever. And it was where this little pit was, right where you remember where Artist Alley is now, right? How it's
Yeah.
in that little hallway? Yeah, that little pit area, just that little pit. My friends were saying, yeah, someone's dueling over there. You should go watch them and learn the rules and whatever, because you don't remember anything. And I'm like, I know I should. So I'm like, you know what? I'll go ditch my friends, go watch the Duelist, and just shits and giggles, why not? Yeah, no, this duelist was drawing a crowd. When I mean a crowd, he was building a crowd. And I'm, just minding my own business, not giving a crap who the hell it is. Freaking, I'm looking, going down the escalator, and so the person was just finishing up their duel. They won. And they noticed me coming down the escalator, and I'm like, this is going to be interesting. What am I doing? This is not good. Literally, it's the Kaiba cosplayer that helped me with the deck. And he looks at me like, Yugi, I challenge you to a duel. And I'm like, oh shit. Like, I'm literally freaking out a little bit because I have not been in a duel. And the fact that I'm looking at myself in this cosplay with a dual disc, and I'm like, right. They had a rivalry in the anime. Wow, did I forget that? So obviously I'm like, you know what, I accept and whatever, and I totally forget half of the rules as usual. But the person, like, I'm literally thinking, this guy knows my deck. He's the one that freaking helped me build this thing. And I'm like, oh crap, I'm gonna lose, I know it. So he's helping me, he actually literally, him and I, we literally try to play as best as we can to as the characters, and it was so hilarious that literally people, that crowd, it grew so much to where there was like maybe more than 40 or 50 people watching it. Even from the balconies, people were watching, and it's like, holy smokes, it's a Yugi versus Kaiba duel. And people literally were stepping in as the monsters. Like someone was stepped in as Blue Eyes, someone stepped in as Dark Magician, and this and that and this and that. And I'm sitting here like, I'm trying so hard not to laugh or smile. It's just like, this is such an anime moment. What the hell? And then someone in the crowd was literally recording this whole entire duel, like from start to finish. Someone recorded it and put it on YouTube, and I'm like, oh my god, was I dumb? And then obviously I won the duel. I'm putting that in quotes for a reason. Obviously I went up to him and said thank you and all that, and I told him a little bit like, no, it really meant a lot to me. And I even asked him, did you basically let me win, like, just out of spite a little bit? And he's like, yeah, I kind of figured since you didn't know any of, like, remember all the rules. And I'm like, you have no clue how much of a memory this was to me. And till this day, I remember that because that was the biggest turn point of like, no, that's where I got back in the game. Because
Nice.
without that memory, there was no way in hell I would get back in. Because it's a very complicated game. But no, it,
Now
it
it
was
is.
such a flat out anime moment. I'm like, I'm never gonna forget that. Even like every person I tell that story, they're like, Jesus Christ, that is such an anime thing. And I'm like, and the best part is there's actual evidence. Like someone literally have it on YouTube. And do I talk to the Kaiba cosplayer? Whenever I see them at the convention, because they're always busy doing God knows what with their girlfriend and whatever. But you know what? Without him, there was no way I would have gotten back into the series. There was no way. So I give him so much kudos and so much thanks because it's definitely one of those huge highlights that it's dumb, but it's so is an anime thing. Oh man,
That's
that is
super
such a
awesome.
story. Yeah.
All right. Well, we're at time. So
Hey.
thanks for joining in. Tell the
Yeah.
people how they can find you.
You can find me on Instagram mainly through same name, nintenlady. But yeah, I'm mainly on Instagram the most. YouTube, I should do again, same name, nintenlady. Facebook page, nintenlady, but most active on Instagram.
All right. Well, all of you watching, thanks for tuning in. Uh, give me about 5 to 10 minutes just to get ready because I'm gonna be streaming soon. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
Fall Guys, and also tonight as I play Among Us. So thanks
Yes,
for
sir.
tuning in. Give me some time, and I'll see you soon.